G'day YouTube, it's Steve Farr. I haven't done a vid for a while, so I thought I'd better put one together. About to head out for a ride. Going to head down the coast, catch up with a mate down at Fremantle. Really just going to have a bit of a yarn on the bike as I'm going. Just a bit of a cruise and put a video up. So I hope you can stick around and join me. I'm sure everybody's pretty concerned about the coronavirus at the moment, so I might chat a bit about that, my views. Everyone's in a panic. Let's not panic, that's the main thing. Let's get on with life. Okay, I'll jump on the bike. Talk about coronavirus. Hey? Bit of a worldwide pandemic. Certainly has spread around the world pretty fast. But I suppose you've got to expect that when you live in a world where we move around so much faster. I mean, we got planes that take us from one country to another in no time now, and we can move lots of people relatively cheaply, and as a consequence of that we have a high mobility in society and we get around really fast. So the problem with that, there's lots of us and we mix, and if we get an infectious viral disease, well, then we're going to spread around really fast, and that's exactly what's happened. So, but I'm not one of those people that rushed out and bought toilet paper and stockpiled with a whole lot of food, because I'm a firm believer life's got to go on. And yes, there'll be a lot of sick people, but there'll also be a lot of people that'll recover and be able to go back to work, and you know, that's the case. The shops will get full of food again, and yes, there'll be a slowdown in the economy, and then we'll get going again, and there'll be the next case. But I think a few things will come out of it, and I think the things that are really interesting that are going to come out of it is we're going to be a lot more protective of our borders. I can see that is one thing, I think, because of this. I could be wrong there, but I think that's will be a lot of people will be looking at that one for sure and saying, hey, we don't want our borders open, we want to be able to shut our borders and quickly isolate our people to protect them. And I think also what will happen is a lot of the hospitals or the medical people will be much better prepared with greater stockpiles of the things that they need for infectious diseases, because I think one of the things that's come out straight away, all of a sudden we've run out of face masks everywhere, you know, because everybody's been panic buying, of course, but the people that need them the most are the medical people, the numbnuts as I call them, who are walking around with face masks on now, don't need them, okay? You know, the medical people need them, you don't need them. All you need to do is wash your hands. Oh, hang on, you just need to wash your hands and stay away from large crowds and other people, sort of thing. You know, bit of common sense. You don't need a face mask because most people around you haven't got it yet. Alright? So getting one on your face at the moment is a waste of time, because mostly, from what I understand, they don't last that long. You got to throw it away and get another one. So why are you wearing it? You're just wasting face masks when medical people need them. And I hope I didn't sound too excited there, but it's just, you know, it's a bit of common sense, isn't it? You don't need a medical mask or a face mask, so don't wear it, because you're just ruining the stockpiles so the medical people can't have them. Ugh, no brainer. But let's face it, most people haven't got a brain. You know? And when you put them in a crisis or a panic situation, completely become brainless. Oh, I got to buy stacks of toilet roll paper. All right, well, you know, wash your ass with some water and then wash your hand afterwards. What's the problem? Eh? You don't need toilet paper, you morons. Okay? There's other things you can use besides paper. Eh? You know? It is a real problem when people can't use common sense. Okay? You know? So, a lot of people have got themselves in the situation where they've got to keep working and got to keep earning. So when the economic downturns come away, they've been living hand to mouth, and they haven't put pennies away for rainy day situations like this. So a lot of them are going to get caught out. So I can expect there'll be a few bikes for sale. And I'm saying that because they're luxury items. They're not a necessity. Most people has them a second means of transport, not the first means of transport. So I'll be imagining there's be quite a few going on the market shortly. This is what happened to Western Australia when we had an economic downturn from the mining industry. There was a lot of all of a sudden there was a lot of jet skis and quad bikes and boats and accessories that people didn't really need on the market going cheap, because suddenly they weren't earning their $150,000 or $180,000 a year job anymore because the mines had shut down. So I think that's going to be a bigger effect this time. Yeah, I think if you're in the auction business, things are going to pick up. Well, I shouldn't laugh, that's not funny. But unfortunately, people will overgear themselves, and yeah, that's a real problem in our society. Everything's on bank card. I'm of the opinion that it'll disappear faster than it came, but and yes, it'll spread, but it is an unknown, and people don't like unknown. They get scared of the unknown, and there are a lot of people out there with health conditions that it will have a drastic effect on. So I feel sorry for those people. So don't think I'm not realising that, but I just think the majority of people will recover, will get it and recover quite well, and it won't affect their health that much at all. So I think what's the real shame is that the healthy ones will be greedy, like they are greedy with their toilet paper and their food, and want to be tested, want to have the hospitalisation when they don't really need it, and push those people that do need it to the back of the queue, you know, like they fight in the aisles over toilet paper. Muppets. That's the bit I find really sad. Anyway, that's enough of the coronavirus. This is a motorbike blog, not a medical blog or medical whinge. So I kind of like those days where there's a bit of cloud and there's sun sort of peeks through. It keeps the temperature down nice and cool, because it's been a pretty warm summer, and a couple of times when there's been a chance to go out and ride the bike, it's just been the opposite to what the poor people in the northern hemisphere have. Too cold. It's been too hot. Motorbikes are spring and autumn weather, that's for sure. Winter's not so good because it's wet and cold, and summer it's stinking hot. So yeah, to get a cooler day after we've had lots of hot days, to jump on the bike, I must admit the temperature. Now another one I wanted to talk about was a lot of people have been watching the $1 Million Bogan. He's a guy that does a lot of motorbike vlogging, and just recently did the ride across the Nullarbor and back again on his little Honda Monkey, and for a good cause, suicide prevention. And I have to say, yeah, I enjoyed watching most of it, not all of it, but most of it. So it was great. Some parts were really funny, and some parts were a bit silly as well, but most of it, like anything, I don't want to be a critic, because it's not an easy thing to put these videos together, and if you've had a go at it yourself, you'll understand how much work in editing and time and effort you have to put in, but I must admit he does a pretty good job with his filming and editing. That I have to give him top marks for. That's outstanding, especially his drone work, how he gets the drone to follow him on the bike and film that. I'm really impressed with that. And yeah, like he's gone through a fair few cameras. So one of the issues I've found with doing this type of work, for those that it's hard to come up with new ideas. So that's probably why I've tried a couple of different things, and now I've decided, well, I'll do a fair bit of talking on the bike and do some videos that way, because if you just keep doing rides all the time, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and they'll get bored watching that. So sometimes you as a person talking can be more interesting, and somebody said to me they found that more interesting when I was chatting. So that's what I'm going to try, a couple of those vids and see if people like them, and sort of tell what people like by how much views they get. Since the ones I've done with some haven't got many views and some have got a lot, but I think the talking one's more interesting. So, and the other guys seem to just do that. They get on the bike and ride, talk all the time. Just have to open it up a bit then, get away from the cars. That's one thing good about the bikes. I like to just open it up a bit and get away, so you're not driving in that pack of cars. You get a bit of a road to yourself. The AFL footy season, that is. Oh, I don't mind watching the rugby as well. I mean, and the F1 Formula Racing and the super bikes, you know. Yes. You kind of like hang out, because summertime there's not much action there, and now when the new year started and it was all about to kick off, and think, great, there's going to be some good sport to watch, and no. And then we've even got the Olympics, which is, I think that's looking, well, still a bit of time to go with that one. So I'm hoping that things will settle down by then. And the reality is, if we get the testing right and we're able to sort of look at people and say, well, no, he hasn't got it, and then he can play, because you're not spreading it around. But that's going to be an issue, really. You know, but people don't want their teams infected, so they're all pulling out of their competitions. And while we're on that subject, I'm a firm believer that too many people get too much money playing those sports. You know, the ones at the top are get the lot, and the ones further down don't get so much. And I think it's obscene when you're paying someone $30 million a year a season, or they're winning a competition where they get $3 or $4 million $1 million at a time, you know, like they do in tennis and golf. I mean, I think that's wrong. Yes, no one's saying that sports people shouldn't receive good money, but when they're getting obscene money, then I think that's terrible. You know, here we have a world crisis where we've got a health problem, and the money needs to go into health at the moment, and we've got sports people, you know, earning millions of dollars to play a game. I think there's something wrong with there. You know, that money, governments build massive sports stadiums which cost billions of dollars, so these people can play their sport and be paid millions of dollars. Yet that money could be better spent going into hospitals. But I'm not saying that we don't need the sports stadiums. I'm just saying that the sports people themselves could do with receiving a little bit less money. Especially the administrators are just as bad as well. You know, the World International Football Game, soccer as we call it, is a good example of sport, money, gambling, really been a corrupt, well, you know, money hungry. That's money just unbelievable what they're paying players for transfer fees and seasonal fees. Yeah. Yeah, that's wrong in my book, but that's another topic. Just flip through these people. Yeah, well, I wonder what's going to happen, how much this is going to slow down the economy. That'll be interesting to see. Well, I think that maybe with a slow down the economy, one of the things that I think will happen is people will be dropping their prices on a lot of things. So yes, some things have got a little bit too expensive, and it'll be nice. Well, one of the things was fuel. I don't know, they're starting a price war on fuel because I like those sports cats, they look pretty good. Wouldn't mind one of them. Just got to win lotto. Oh, there we go, we're down in Freo. Nice little ride down here. Got a cruise liner sitting down here. We've got two cruise liners sitting here. Gotta love Freo. Got a bit of character. One thing we lack in Western Australia. We haven't got that much in the way of really nice old places. I don't know, they just don't build The modern cities are just don't have the character the old places had, do they? I don't know what it is. The architecture is just so much more interesting to look at. Nowadays we could build such boring steel and glass buildings and concrete, ugly. I mean, they're architecturally, smart, but they certainly aren't as interesting as the old ones are. But that's the changing world. Never mind. That's right. Now, catch up with the mate. See if he's here. A few people hanging down here. Not allowed to get in the crowds of 500 people, so I think we should be alright. Doesn't seem like there's 500 yet. Need to keep a 2 metre distance so I don't get coronavirus.